Hello everyone. Yes, I'm online now, I believe. So, hello everyone, and thank you very much for finding time to participate in the conversation. Hello everyone. And as usually,
Yes,
dear
I'm
friends,
online
it's a Sunday stream
now,
so
I believe.
Mainly it's informal talk,
So,
informal conversation.
hello everyone, and thank you very much for
finding time to participate in the conversation.
Hello everyone.
To all the questions that I see, so we can have a
as
usually,
yes,
dear
I'm
friends,
online
it's a Sunday stream
now,
so
I believe.
mainly it's informal talk,
So,
informal conversation.
hello everyone, and thank you very much for
finding time to participate in the conversation.
Hello everyone.
To all the questions that I see, so we can have a
as usually,
yes, dear
I'm
friends,
online
it's a Sunday stream
now, I believe.
mainly it's informal talk,
So,
informal conversation.
hello everyone, and thank you very much for finding time to participate in the conversation. Hello everyone.
To all the questions that I see, so we can have a
as usually,
yes, dear
I'm
friends,
online
it's a Sunday stream
now, I believe.
mainly it's informal talk,
So,
informal conversation.
hello everyone, and thank you very much for finding time to participate in the conversation. Hello everyone.
To all the questions that I see, so we can have a
as usually,
yes, dear friends,
online
it's a Sunday stream
now, I believe.
mainly it's informal talk,
So,
conversation.
hello everyone, and thank you very much for finding time to participate in the conversation. Hello everyone.
To all the questions that I see, so we can have a
as usually,
yes, dear friends,
online
it's a Sunday stream
now, I believe.
mainly it's informal talk, conversation.
Hello everyone, and thank you very much for finding time to participate in the conversation. Hello everyone.
To all the questions that I see, so we can have a
as usually,
yes, dear friends,
online
it's a Sunday stream
now, I believe.
mainly it's informal talk, conversation.
Hello everyone, and thank you very much for finding time to participate in the conversation. Hello everyone.
To all the questions that I see, so we can have a
as usually,
yes, dear friends,
online
it's a Sunday stream
now, I believe.
mainly it's informal talk, conversation.
Hello everyone, and thank you very much for
yes, dear friends, I just restarted stream. Hopefully sound is okay, otherwise yes, dear friends, I just restarted stream. What to do. Hopefully sound is okay, otherwise yes, dear friends, I just restarted stream. What to do. Hopefully sound is okay, otherwise yes, dear friends, I just restarted stream. What to do. Hopefully sound is okay, otherwise yes, dear friends, I just restarted stream. What to do. Hopefully sound is okay, otherwise yes, dear friends, I just restarted stream. What to do. Hopefully sound is okay, otherwise yes, dear friends, I just restarted stream. What to do. Hopefully sound is okay, otherwise yes, dear friends, I just restarted stream. What to do. Hopefully sound is okay, otherwise yes, dear friends, I just restarted stream. What to do. Hopefully sound is okay, otherwise yes, dear friends, I just restarted stream. What to do. Hopefully sound is okay, otherwise yes, dear friends, I just restarted stream. What to do. Hopefully sound is. Am I back? Well, hopefully I'm back. And well, that's quite unfortunate. And sound is okay, dear friends. Okay. Wow, sorry about this technical issue. Well, unfortunately, things happen. So, well, as I said in the beginning, although I guess it was impossible to hear anything. Well, main topics of the stream will be, of course, crisis in Ukraine and in Middle East. Also in 10-15 minutes time, let's see if more people will come to live stream, and then I will make announcement about upcoming interview on Tuesday during the live stream, 8 o'clock Moscow time. And also, dear friends, I did prepare news summary. And well, I will share this news summary also in this live stream. Well, it's too bad that live stream did start this bad, but well, what can I do, really? Anyway, let's continue. And well, as always, if you have any questions, dear friends, or topics that you like to be discussed during the live stream, you can write in the chat with capital letters if it's possible, so that I can see a little easier. So, well, we are live now. And when it comes to news summary, dear friends, of course, I did prepare several news updates, but just a few minutes ago, before I start live stream, Slaviangrad Telegram channel did reported that Russian forces had a significant success in Avdiivka direction, and according to news that I read, Russian forces did manage to establish control over the Tsarskaya Khota area on the southern part of Avdiivka, and offensive continues as we speak. So for tomorrow morning, I guess there will be some significant news about Avdiivka operation. And I see first question. Melkor is asking, has the Russian media provided any photos of the Su-27 that defected? Not yet. I did not see any photo or video evidence, but well, because there were so many media outlets did write about it. Also, by the way, bloggers that were involved in this move of Ukrainian pilot, that I don't think this is fake news, but yet again, we should take any information with pinch of salt, or even mountain of salt when we are talking about military confrontation and the news that coming from one or another side. But me personally, I'm quite confident that pilot defected, and plane Su-27 is in Russia right now. I guess it will take some time before security forces will interview this pilot, before they will, it's a serious stuff, isn't it? It's a very serious stuff. We don't know in what condition this Su-27 was. Apparently, this pilot defected on Su-27, and we don't know in what condition this plane was. Did this plane undergo some modernization in some NATO states? What kind of weaponry this plane had? What kind of avionics or fire control systems? Also interesting if this plane was carrying HARM missiles, or maybe British Storm Shadow cruise missile, or French Scalp cruise missile. So there is so many questions that need to be answered, that I guess security forces will talk to this pilot first, and when when they will find it possible, they will share with public additional information. But me personally, I'm quite confident that this is true news. So also questions, why is Vovin is asking, Canadian here, hello to Canada, why is Transnistria left untouched by Ukraine throughout all this confrontation? Seems like an easy target. That's interesting topic. Ukraine cannot conduct military operation, or on large scale at least, without permission from Moldova's government, because Moldova never recognized Transnistria as an independent state. So formally, from Moldova's point of view, Transnistria is still part of Moldova. So any operation of Ukraine will be attack on Moldova. And that's why Kiev needs permission from Chisinau, capital of that republic. And if we take in account that Moldova on its own is in quite difficult situation internally, there are significant issues, political and economical issues inside the Moldova. Also, by the way, Romania, who has a huge influence over the Moldova, are not really keen to end up in any kind of confrontation with Russia. And if Moldova allows Ukrainian side to conduct military operation against Transnistria, maybe together with Moldovan forces, that will be attack on Russian peacekeepers, that will be received by Moscow as act of war from Moldova, and we all know what will happen next. Russian side will be forced to act, and Moldova will end up in very difficult situation. And I don't think Chisinau is ready for this, or they want such a development. That's a reason that I see, by the way, why Kiev regime did not conduct the military operation in the direction of Transnistria. So let's see, questions. So Melkor is writing, I was interested as it may have been modified for Storm Shadow or may have been armed with them. Yes, that's exactly the point. This plane did undergo some modernization in the some of the NATO member states, or maybe even in Ukraine, but with NATO technology. And if that's the case, of course, Russian side will be very keen to learn as much as possible, and then probably we will, maybe tomorrow, maybe in few days time, we will learn some more, and plane itself probably will be demonstrated to public, because interest is huge here in Russia. Also, I was yesterday looking for some additional information, today I was looking for some additional information, but there is not that much really at this point. So, but what I noticed that to launch Storm Shadows or Scalps, Kiev regime was using Su-24 frontline bombers usually, and there was some reports that MiG-29s were modified to operate with those cruise missiles also. And if that's the case, if MiG-29 was modified, then I see no reason why Su-27s could not undergo same modernization. So, Moonlight Shadow is asking, will their evacuees return to their homes when the war is over and Russia has rebuilt? Will they rebuild it? Of course, dear friends, and that's why when I am asked why Russian side are not conducting large-scale offensive operations immediately, why there was no large-scale offensives yesterday, months ago, 5 months ago, and so on. I'm always trying to explain Russian strategy as I see it. And Russia's main goal is to minimize casualties and to minimize damage on the ground, because we all see in these frontline settlements, isn't it? Frontline villages and cities, they are decimated because of this high intensity of battles. These settlements are decimated. Just take a look what happened in Mariupol, by the way, which is significantly rebuilt at this point. Probably many of you did see videos and pictures from Mariupol, but town was devastated, isn't it? Take a look what happened in Bakhmut, by the way. City was almost erased from the face of the earth. Take a look at the small settlements on the line of contact, like just any of them, Rabotina on Zaporozhye sector of the front line, or Klishevka, for example, on Donetsk direction, or Andreevka, or when it comes to, for example, Sovdanetsk sector of the front line, these small settlements on Vremelsky salient, Urozhaina, and so on. There is almost nothing left from those settlements, isn't it? And they have to be rebuilt. And who's gonna do it? Of course, Russia gonna do it, isn't it? And that's yet again one of the main reasons why Russian side is in no hurry to conduct these large-scale offensive operations, even if Moscow has 500 or 700,000 military personnel in reserve, because they will be, until Ukrainian forces are still able to put up some significant fight, whenever frontline will move forward, there will be significant number of casualties on both sides, and there will be total devastation on the ground, and everything will be destroyed, or almost everything. And that's why, in my understanding, Russian side will use current line of contact with some minor changes, as we are observing for many, many months, by the way. And Russian side will try to neutralize battle capabilities of Ukrainian forces on current line of contact. And when General Staff will decide that Ukrainian forces are crumbling or on the verge of collapse, and when we will see large Ukrainian units on the scale of battalion began to surrender or lay down arms and stop fighting, at that point maybe we will see large-scale Russian offensive operations, because if Ukrainian armed forces or remnants of Ukrainian armed forces would not be able to put up severe fighting, then of course number of casualties will be minimized as possible, and also damage on the ground will be as minimal as possible. That's a Russian approach, by the way, and that's attrition war. That's what attrition war is all about, in my understanding. To basically force your opponent's side to acknowledge defeat and stop fighting. And that's why, dear friends, I was saying for quite a while that Avdiivka will become second Bakhmut, just in a smaller scale, and that's why I'm quite confident that, for example, this Orekhov bridgehead is a trap for Ukrainian forces, and Kherson, left bank of the Kherson region, is a trap for Ukrainian forces. Russian side is trying to use current line of contact to force basically Ukrainian army to recognize that they lost, and then there is no point to continue this battle. And once officers will manage to deal with this fear that they will be prosecuted, or their relatives will be prosecuted, or something like that, once they will realize that there is no point to continue this fight, and that they are serving basically not Ukrainian society but Western so-called elites, then we will see big Ukrainian units began to surrender, and at that point probably Russian side will conduct large-scale offensive operations. And I believe first stage of this final collapse of Ukrainian forces will be in Avdiivka sector, by the way, in Avdiivka direction. every day checking news to see if large Ukrainian units did make decision to surrender in Avdiivka, because it's a strategic direction. Ukrainian side has 20 to 30,000 military personnel in that area, and already there was instances when Ukrainian units were refusing to obey orders and conduct local scale offensive operations or surrendering. So, but small units is a one story. But when big units began surrendering or stopping fighting, that's whole different stuff. Also, question. So I hope I did answer to your question. And of course, refugees will be able to return to their homes once territories will be clear from mines, and once infrastructure will be rebuilt, undoubtedly. So questions. So question, I can see question. Oh, dear friends, I remind you that, well, I use donation alert. You can see link under this video in description box. And if there will be any questions or suggestions or just an opinion on donation alert, I will read it. I will constantly check this site. And also, dear friends, on Buy Me Coffee, if I see any questions or suggestions or opinions on Buy Me Coffee during the stream, I will of course read out a message straight away. And now let me check how many of us on the stream. 124 of us at this point. And dear friends, if I may, I will make announcement now about upcoming interview. And well, first of all, and I will continue with the I will continue with questions after that. So as you know, dear friends, during the previous stream, I did mention that I was kind of disappointed in this whole idea of making interviews, and I was thinking to stop this idea for a time being, but then I had a conversation with very interesting people. You were suggesting not to worry too much about it and to continue, and whenever interview will be possible, that will be okay. And also I did receive some messages, and well, I did continue work on this segment, and as a result, by the way, I did spoke to very interesting historian and author, founder of the Canadian Patriot project, Matt Ehret. Many of you are probably familiar with him. And dear friends, Matthew Ehret, and this is, by the way, his channel on YouTube. This is his website. Very interesting person, and I'm quite sure interview with him will be fascinating to listen, because he has a very unique approach when he's analyzing current developments in a global scale through prism of historical developments. And this interview will be very interesting to me personally, and hopefully for you also. And after stream, by the way, I will put I will pin a comment under this video with the link of channel Canadian Patriot Press, with the link of his website, his Twitter account, and so on, and you can check his works. Very interesting, very interesting. Just recently he was a guest on Duran. Many of you probably did watch him. So this is presentation, by the way, or announce. So there will be interview with Matthew Ehret on Tuesday, 8 o'clock Moscow time. 8 o'clock Moscow time. So hopefully you will join that live stream, and I will have no technical issues like today, and you will enjoy conversation, because I'm 100% sure it will be very interesting to listen to Matthew, to his take on current events through this prism of history. So that's announcement. Let me check now if there is any questions, and if not, so Peter Cookson is or Saxon is asking, do you think Russia and Great Britain can ever reestablish good relationships, and if so, what do you what the first step might be? Well, that's a very hard question to ask. That's a very hard question to ask, to answer, because who knows? I would like to see relationships between Moscow and London improved, but at this point, if we take in account establishment in the UK on all sides of aisle, they are almost have a competition between each other. Which one is more hawkish? Which one is more aggressive? Which one is more Russophobic or anti-Russian? And in this situation, when no matter which party, for example, has majority in parliament, which party is able to have appoint prime minister, in general, foreign policy of UK and attitude towards Russia will probably not change. So in next decade, at least, I honestly don't see any even slight chance to see true improvement of relationships. At least decade, by the way, because it will probably take a change of generation, new generation of politicians to begin improving relationships, because current ones are definitely not in a position to change anything, I'm afraid. Although, of course, me personally, and I'm quite sure vast majority of citizens of Russia will love to see improvement of relationships between Moscow and any capital, by the way, in any part of the world, and including Western world. But to be realistic, I did ask this question, if you remember, to Alex Christoforou and Alexander Mercuris while they were participating in our program, and Alexander Mercuris was also quite skeptical that in foreseeable future we will see any improvements of relationships. We may want it, but well, political establishment are not in a position to achieve any success, I'm afraid, in this direction. Question. Rosamaki is asking, how the heck did you Georgians come up with the idea of writing the Greek alphabet upside down? Well, that's quite interesting. Dear friends, I'm hearing first time the Georgian alphabet is upside down Greek, or somewhat similar to Greek, although we can find some similarities, undoubtedly. Usually I do hear that the Georgian alphabet is based on Armenian alphabet. But anyhow, it's a unique alphabet for sure. One of the few that counts thousands of years, well, it's nice to be able to read on that alphabet and write. That was quite interesting. I did not know that Greeks see Georgian alphabet like upside down Greek one. Thank you for a question. And also Tommy T is asking, can anyone in Ukraine or Gaza ever go back home again when their fighting ends? I'm sure Levan can speak to this from his heart and personal experience. As I said, when it comes to Gaza Strip, by the way, I'm afraid if Netanyahu's government will achieve to force locals outside of Gaza, then I'm afraid they will not be able to go back to Gaza. But when it comes to Ukrainian refugees, I'm 100% sure, by the way, I have no doubt that once fighting is over and once Russian militaries will clear territory from mines as much as possible, and once infrastructure is rebuilt so that it's safe to return, then of course locals will be back, because that's where they live, isn't it? So there is no question about it in Russia, by the way. There's no questions about it. And no matter these refugees went to Russia or they went to Western European states, for example, they will be able to go back to their homes, undoubtedly. If they will, after that, if they will act anti-Russian, and if they act did some sabotage, some of them, well, there will be repercussions for that. But if people are just living their lives, man, they will have no issues, absolutely. And I remind you, dear friends, that in Russia, there is, just a few days ago, I did report that in Russia, about 4 or 5 million Ukrainian refugees are living right now. Maybe citizens in the Western states don't know about it. They may think that Ukrainian refugees are only in the Western states, but no. At this point, as we speak, in Russia, there is 4 to 5 million refugees, among them more than 700,000 kids, by the way. And once it will be safe for them to go back to their homes, of course they will be free to do so, absolutely. And same goes for refugees that are in the Western states at this point. So this topic is not even an issue here in Russia, because it's just obvious, isn't it? Of course they will be able to go back. How else? It's not issue in Russia. I hope I did answer to your question. So let me check mail. And well, today's stream did begin with technical difficulties. That's quite annoying, really. But anyway, let's continue. And dear friends, I will share with you some information, if I may, now. As I said, these live streams, Sunday live streams, are just for us, for our community, so that we can have chat in the real time, and same time I will use opportunity and I will just share additional information that was reported by Russian media during the day or Russian language pages on different platforms. Let me now share with you some additional news, by the way, and after that we will continue with, discussion in the chat. So first of all, this report from Slaviangrad, by the way, that Russian forces, let me see his page on Telegram, and I will read straight from his Telegram. So this is Slaviangrad's page, and this is the news that I was talking about. Where is it? Just a sec, dear friends. Oh, he removed that post or what? But anyway, he is writing at this moment that Russian forces did cut off a ledge near the village of Veselaya. And also he is writing that Russian forces have some small advance in Klishchevka area. This is that's a news, by the way, that I was talking about. So according to Slaviangrad, in the southern flank of Avdiivka direction, Yasinovataya 2 train station, and Tsarskaya Okhota restaurant area was taken by Russian army, and defense of Ukrainian forces are crumbling, according to Slaviangrad. And if you take a look on the map, by the way, we are talking about, let me show you on this map. So we are talking about southern eastern part. So this is Tsarskaya Okhota here, as I understand. So this area seems like under Russian control, according to Slaviangrad. And also train station, which is supposed to be somewhere here, Yasinovataya 2 or Yasinovataya 2 train station. So I believe military summary Dima will share with us this afternoon additional information about it, and Slaviangrad also. And of course I will share this additional news on my Telegram page also. And well, let's talk about some other news now. And TASS news agencies did report it today, by the way, that Russian armed forces did manage to destroy Ukrainian ammunition depots in Kirovograd and the Kiev regions during the strikes, missile strikes and drone strikes during the previous night. And dear friends, this is, for example, this video here, which I did share on my Telegram, is explosion as a result of destruction of one of the Ukrainian munition depots in Kiev region. So as you can see, quite a large explosion. And also successfully Russian side did strike on munition depots in Kirovograd region. RIA Novosti is also reported that Russian forces destroyed three Ukrainian amphibious boats in Kherson region, while Ukrainian forces were trying to conduct landing operations. And according to RIA Novosti, military personnel of Ukrainian forces did not manage to survive this strike from Russian side on those boats. I guess the Russian Defense Ministry will share additional information about it with the public. RIA Novosti is also reporting that well, Western media, by the way, Western media is quite keen now to learn some more about Russian weaponry that is used during the special military operation, and as I understand, they are quite impressed by Lancet drones, by Russian Lancet drones, effectiveness of these drones, and also Scalpel, by the way. They are Lancet and another type of similar drones, Scalpel, and these drones are truly effective. I do share many videos on daily basis on my Telegram, and you can see it, how effective these Lancet drones are. And recently we are seeing more and more such videos when Russian forces are using Lancet to strike deep inside territory that is controlled by Kyiv regime, like 40, 50, 60 kilometers. There was some reports that Lancet did reach some 70 kilometers, which means that Russian company that produces these drones are constantly modernizing this weapon system and increasing not just the warhead but also range of this drone. And in this case, Business Insider did write article about this Russian Lancet drone and about its effectiveness. Also, RT is reporting, by the way, that well, according to Valery Charlie, Kyiv's former envoy to Washington, Ukraine must brace for a loss of US support. That's quite a statement to make, isn't it? And let me read several sentences. So Valery Charlie, Kyiv's former envoy to Washington, has said that Ukraine should brace for potential political crisis in the US that could undermine further military assistance to the embattled nation. In an interview with Espresso TV, this is a Ukrainian TV channel, Charlie, who served as Ukraine's ambassador to US between 2015 and 2019, weighed in on a recent visit by Ukrainian delegation to Washington that sought to lobby the US Congress for more financial support to Kyiv. According to the diplomat, Ukraine has found itself in a precarious situation. Out of the three scenarios that we've been talking about for a long time, our government has for some reason considered the most optimistic scenario, and what is happening now is actually the worst case scenario. He said, this Ukrainian diplomat, and well, no surprises here really. Seems like more and more public figures in Ukraine and politicians are beginning to see reality, at least partially, and maybe current divisions in the Ukrainian leadership, especially between Zelensky, between political and military leadership, does create this opening for some public figures that were very quiet in previous years and months to become a little more active now. Probably they think there is opportunity for them also in this confrontation between let's say Zelensky and Zaluzhny and their groups. And that's why lately we see some statements from Ukrainian politicians that are somewhat critical of Zelensky's regime, which is something new for modern Ukraine, because as we all know, opposition political parties are banned in Ukraine, independent media is banned in Ukraine. Many politicians and public figures were forced to flee Ukraine. Some did flee for Russia, some did flee for Western states, Europe, and wherever they could go. But seems like there's still some public figures in Ukraine that are beginning to, make some noise, let's say this way. And Let's see how this confrontation between Zelensky and Zaluzhny will continue. In my understanding, Zelensky has only like several months left at best, and he will be replaced because from Western, if we take a look on Ukrainian crisis from Western point of view, it's I mean, there is no more point really to keep Zelensky in office. He was used as much as possible, and at this point, Zelensky is kind of more destruction type of element, and that's why I believe Washington and London, one way or another, will conduct some operation to remove him from office. And who will replace him, Zaluzhny or some other figure? That's yet to be seen. But Zelensky will be removed for sure. And this new reality on the ground in Ukraine does create this opening for public figures to become like this Valery Chali, to become, slightly critical of current regime of Zelensky and his associates, and they are beginning, these politicians and people that are still have some ambitions. They are beginning to test the ground for if they have any future in there. Anyway, let's continue. RT is also reporting that, but when it comes to financial aid of Ukraine, I'm quite sure. One way, it's only a matter of time, and Congress will approve some aid package for Kyiv regime. It may not be 106 billion aid package that Biden proposed, in which 63 billion is for Ukraine, 15 billion or 40 billion for Israel, and some sums for Taiwan and also for border security. It may not be 106 billion, but it may be some smaller package. Sides will negotiate, but eventually, I'm quite sure that these corrupt politicians in US and the military-industrial complex will do its best to use its influence so that this package is approved one way or another. Because this is a last big paycheck for them, by the way, from Ukrainian crisis. They're not gonna send to Kyiv regime any more billions. No, definitely not tens and hundreds of billions. So it's only a matter of time, and the U.S. Congress will, of course, approve Biden's initiative. Maybe not, as I said, maybe not 106 billion. They may cut it a little bit, but something definitely will be approved. 60 billion, 80 billion, and from it, Ukraine will formally receive 40 billion, 45 billion, something like that will happen, I guess. But anyway, let's continue. And RT is also reporting that I did already share this information. And foreign mercenaries, by the way, this is also from RT, are abandoning a Ukrainian army. Lately, these foreign mercenaries did become quite a topic inside Ukraine itself, because almost on a daily basis now some stories are coming out from Ukraine when mercenaries did kill civilians, when mercenaries did kill each other or began fighting between each other. It's daily stuff at this point in Ukraine, and some mercenaries seems like lost any interest to continue fighting on behalf of Kyiv regime, and they are fleeing this country. Let me read several sentences. So many foreign mercenaries recruited by Kyiv soon opt to flee Ukraine after experiencing the gruesome reality of the battlefield, an army officer told CNN on Sunday. Moscow has previously said that Kyiv is using soldiers from other countries as a cannon fodder to breach Russian defenses. In an interview with the American network, Lieutenant Dmitry Kostyak said that his platoon, which was deployed not far from Artyomovsk, known as Bakhmut in Ukraine, also worldwide. And Bakhmut, by the way, is a Russian name for this city. And anyway, so this platoon of this Dmitry Kostyak, which was deployed to Bakhmut area, scene of fierce fighting in recent months, was short on personnel and was replenished by 12 foreign fighters. According to the officer, while some mercenaries joined the fray because they are attracted to the romance of war, others go because they see fighting as the professional activity, or even because it is a good line or on their resume. As a rule, they do not realize what they are getting into. Many people imagine our war as a gunfight with the enemy, but they don't realize how much artillery there is, and that you sit under the fire all day, every day, and may not see the enemy at all. Well, this is true, by the way. This is true. This is not the fight that these foreign mercenaries did ever encounter in their, let's say, military career. You know, they may serve in US Army, in army of other NATO member states. They may had some experience of fighting in Iraq, in Afghanistan, in some other places. But what is happening in Ukraine, by the way, this immensely intense combat, they have not seen anything like that. So they are definitely not prepared. And many of them, I'm quite sure, are dying even without seeing single Russian soldier. They are dying under strikes of artillery, under drone strikes, missile strikes, and so on. And because of it, many mercenaries are making decision to run from Ukraine while they can. And also, dear friends, this is quite interesting news also from our team. Russian MP did propose Russian citizenship to be given for Ukrainian defectors. Quite interesting. This information did come up today after the story of Ukrainian pilot defecting to Russia. And well, I don't know if Russian Duma, Russian Parliament will, work on this topic or not. But let me read several sentences from this news. Ukrainian soldiers who defect to Moscow's side should receive Russian citizenship along with social benefits. The first deputy chairman of the State Duma Defense Committee, Alexei Zhuravlev, has said. The proposal follows reports that the Ukrainian military pilot had defected to Russia, allegedly an active duty serviceman who held the ranks of senior officer in Kiev's armed forces. Yet again, this issue is a very serious issue. You cannot make decisions based on emotions, and I guess Russian security services will have some questions about this stuff. But as an initiative, it is quite interesting. If Russian security forces will manage to come up with the mechanism to make sure that Ukrainian side are not using this this initiative, if it will become a law against Russia, then why not? Why not? Because about this pilot, by the way, that defected to Russian side, what we learned from bloggers that were involved in this whole story, this pilot was initially against the war. He's Russian. He did not want to fight, but he was participating in hostilities. Yet again, according to what I read on internet, we should take all information with a pinch of salt at this point. But he was forced basically to participate in military operations, and whenever he saw the opportunity, I guess, to defect to Russian side, he made a decision, and he was lucky that Russian air defense systems didn't shut down his plane. Probably he was flying so low from ground that his plane was not detected. That's a possibility. Or maybe maybe this story has some additional dimensions, and maybe air defense forces were informed that at some point, at some area, Ukrainian plane will cross a border, and this plane was allowed to enter Russian airspace. That's also a possibility. But anyway, let's continue. How long is this video? It's 51 minutes. Dear friends, let me go back to questions and answers, and then we will continue. I hope you find this first half of news update, news summary interesting. And well, let me check questions. Let me check here. Baba Yaga, thank you very much for your support, for a $10 donation. I appreciate it. Thank you. There is no question or commentary. And let me check also Mile. So there is no comments on Buy Me a Coffee. So let's continue now, dear friends. Hopefully you'll find the stream interesting and this news summary interesting. I have to apologize that I had some technical issues in the beginning of the stream, but let's see if there is any questions. And if you can, dear friends, if you have a question or suggestion, if you can write in capital letters so that I can see a little bit easier. So questions. Where is a question mark? So sorry, dear friends, if I miss your questions. It's so great that, you know, there is an active conversation in the chat during the stream. It's wonderful to see, you know, people are communicating in the real time. Wonderful. So more news. Grim44 is asking, there is any more news on Su-27 pilot? As I said in the beginning, at this point, no. But I'm quite sure in upcoming days, we will see plane. We will probably be introduced to pilot, or maybe not. By the way, if maybe for security reason, plane will be introduced, but pilot not. I don't know. Or maybe pilot will also speak to media. Let's see. Question: would Russia take Palestinian refugees? Any country should take Palestinian refugees. Question from Pauline Long. Any country should take refugees. That's international law, basically. And if Palestinian refugees will come to Russia, of course, Russian side will provide as much support as possible. Also, Rosomak is asking, do you think what do you think about reception of the Russian delegation in San Francisco? Dear friends, according to reports that I read on Russian media, reception was quite good, really, and sides surprisingly good, and working conditions were established for Russian delegations, and as far as I know, on the sidelines of conference, there were some talks between the sides, which is great, by the way, which is great. As I said many times before, it's always good when countries are in talks, when leadership of states are in talk, especially when we are talking about nuclear superpowers. So that's why it was great that Biden and Xi Jinping and delegations of China and US had the talks between each other. And it's good that on a lesser scale, but there was some talks between Russian and US delegations also during a summit in San Francisco. That summit was about economical, cooperation of in the Pacific region. So at least what I read in Russian media, reception was very good, and Russian side did had working did had the opportunity to work properly. I hope nothing did change, because I don't know, maybe someone made some statement in last 1 hour, but what I read for now is that Russian side was received quite well. Questions. Tommy T is writing that aviation defections has been going on for months. However, this is the first publicized defection from Ukraine to Russia. Maybe it was coordinated. Maybe this defection stuff, by the way, it was always happening. I mean, historically, during the Cold War era and before that, it's quite usual, I will say, stuff. Nothing extraordinary, really. But it always does brings attention to fact itself. That's for sure. Probably many of you do remember that during the Cold War era, from Soviet Union, for example, MiG-25 defected. One pilot took MiG-25 into Japan, and there was another instance when a pilot took MiG-29 into Turkey. And of course, those planes eventually been studied by NATO specialists, by US, and planes were eventually returned to Soviet Union, but they did manage to study as much as they could about those planes. Levan, what about the San Francisco show? Well, about that summit, I mean, as I said, because I have an attitude that any talk is better than a confrontation, I think that summit was a success, even if it didn't achieve anything visible right now. I can understand that. I mean, many people are worldwide, by the way, are discussing this surface level stuff, like what Biden was doing and how he was acting, and so on. Blinken was in a very difficult situation next to Biden. Probably he was afraid what Biden gonna say or do or stuff like that. But after all, that's a surface level. But in other hand, delegations between the countries are working during these summits, and maybe achieving some results to de-escalate in some place and to cooperate in other. So that's why I think any summit, by the way, any summit is from this perspective is a success. And San Francisco summit is also, I will say, although sides may not come up with some grandiose ideas and grandiose decisions or global decisions. So, Levan, what is your reserve rank? Captain or major? Rosumak is asking. I'm not military, by the way. I'm journalist. So I did not serve in army. I don't have military experience. When the mobilization was in Russia, this first wave of mobilization, I was first time checking my mailbox. First time in my life. Because no matter do you have a military experience or not, you are, until certain age, you are in reserve anyway. And I was checking, initially there was made quite clearly that only people will be mobilized with military experience. And the chances that I will be mobilized was next to none. But still, I was on daily basis checking my mailbox, by the way, just in case that, you know, I got mobilized. But I did not, because I mean, if I was mobilized, what would I do? I can be useful I mean, I can drive truck, for example. I cannot. I will disassemble and reassemble probably. If you give me some half an hour time, AK-47, for example, I will manage to do so. Everyone can, if you have enough time. Like half an hour is okay. After all, I did see on videos how people are doing it in some 20 seconds, by the way, or 30 seconds. But when it comes to, you know, frontline, if they will mobilize people like me, what good is it for army? I mean, I will probably die in the very first gunfight, and that's it. Although, if there will be additional mobilizations and I will be mobilized, I guess people like me without any military experience will serve as a support force, as a truck drivers, or I don't know. I mean, we can do some good, isn't it? We can be support. We can do some stuff that will be helpful for militaries on the front line. Bring some ammunition, you know, and help medics to take wounded soldiers from battlefield and stuff like that. Questions. Dear friends, I will Seymour is asking, you do your conscription in Georgia? No, by the way, I was in university in Georgia, and I did not serve in Georgian Army. So, as I said, I have no military experience. So, there was a military faculty, by the way, in university, and all students were going through this military faculty, and that was a kind of, if you are going through this military faculty, then that means you kind of serve in the army. So you would not be drafted after that. But this military faculty, it was a joke, by the way. To be honest, it was a joke. Nobody learned nothing, absolutely, and you know, I guess it was Soviet tradition, by the way. I don't think at this point Georgian universities still have military faculties. I don't think so. But when I was in university, so many years ago, Soviet Union did collapse just recently, and many institutions were working on the similar style as it was in Soviet Union. So that's why universities was having these military faculties in Georgia. At this point, they probably don't. But at that time, there was. And if you finish this faculty, formally you were младший лейтенант запаса. You were reserve, not lieutenant, but младший лейтенant. But before that, in that year, in that particular year, when I was studying, there was some changes made, if I'm not mistaken, and whoever finished this, go through this military faculty in university, they were receiving. They should supposed to be reserve sergeants. Theoretically, I never talk from Defense Ministry военный билет, military paper about it, because in Georgia you don't really need this. That's why I'm saying this military faculty was a joke, man. So Bertram Mosbacher is asking, where you were born, Levan? I was born in Georgia during the Soviet Union era. Georgian Soviet Socialist Republic, that was a name. I was born in Soviet Union. And I was raised in Georgia, by the way. And then, you know, life went in the ways that eventually I end up in Russia. You can see videos about my story on my on my page on YouTube. I have 2 videos about it, so where I did spoke about my story a little bit. Oh, militaries, yes. Watsu is writing that militaries also need some press officers. Yes, because I have journalistic education, and I worked in journalism quite some time. In case that I will be mobilized, it's a possibility that I will serve as a media, as a in public relations, possibly. I did not think about it, but yes, that's definitely a possibility. So Peter Cookson is writing, I happened to meet Georgian in Lebanon, and we swapped stories of Stalin's birthplace. In Britain, we can buy Stalin's favorite wine, but it's expensive. Oh, yes, it will be expensive if it's from Georgia, exported to UK. Stalin was born in Gori, by the way. That's a city in Georgia, and there were discussions: is he was Georgian? Is he was Ossetian? Jugashvili, his surname was Jugashvili. Jugati. In Ossetian, that name sounds like Jugati. So he was Georgian Ossetian, I will say. Although he himself did see as a Russian, and he was, whenever he spoke about himself, he was saying that he was Russian. But he was born in Gori in Georgia. Dear friends, let me share with you additional news, if I may, about from Middle East, and then we can finalize today's live stream. I will answer if I see any questions. Also, Ruski Brat, спасибо. Thank you for your donation. Hope you are enjoying our winter weather finally. Thanks for your great work and reporting. Oh, thank you very much for your support. And well, today we have quite freezing weather, and I do enjoy winter weather for sure. I don't know how and why, but especially being southerner, by the way. But I do prefer winter weather for whatever reason. I do love winter time when it's snow everywhere, when it's freezing. It's so nice. I do prefer winter weather. Summertime is not for me. Yet again, I don't understand why, because I'm southerner. I'm supposed to love summertime and hate winter, but not. It's exactly the opposite. But we all are, we all are different. And dear friends, let me share with you some information from Middle East. There is very interesting developments, and of course, in tomorrow's update, I will talk about this news also with some additional information about it. So let's talk about news again. And well, RIA Novosti did report, by the way, and many other media outlets, that Ansar Allah movement in Yemen, by the way, Houthi rebels, did seize commercial ship in the Red Sea. And name of this ship is Galaxy Leader. And according to this report here, this ship has some connection with Israel. And well, this information is confirmed because Office of Prime Minister of Israel did comment on this incident. And well, of course they condemned this seizure of this commercial ship, transport ship, and they said that they blame basically Iran for this. So Netanyahu's office did blame Iran for this operation, which is well, quite dangerous, really, because Netanyahu's government can use any development as a pretext to attack Iran. So I'm a little bit wary about this kind of stuff when Israel is pointing fingers on Iran. Let's hope this situation will be resolved without further escalation. And well, according to Israeli Prime Minister's office, this ship, by the way, Galaxy Leader, was run by Japanese company and belongs to British company. So why Houthi rebels decided that this ship has some connection with Israel, I don't know. Maybe this ship was traveling from Israel or towards Israel. I have no idea, but according to Netanyahu's office, this ship was run by Japanese company, and the ship belongs to, owner of the ship is a British company. And also, by the way, quite interesting news did become available for public today, and TASS News Agency and many other media outlets did report that there are high probability that casualties among participants in the festive Nova festive in the Israel during this Hamas offensive or incursion in Israel. Possibly some casualties were due to Israeli helicopter strikes. So reports are coming in now, and this information have been published by Israeli, by the way, a newspaper, Haaretz, that there is a probability that Israeli helicopter opened fire by mistake on participants of this festive Nova, during the which at least 364 people did die. As a result, not just this helicopter strike, but overall during this escalation, 364 people died that were participating in that festive. So, well, let's see what kind of confirmations media will provide society about these helicopter strikes. But well, this is definitely reinforces the opinion that is circulating in internet that not all the casualties not all the casualties on Israeli side were because of this incursion from Hamas. Also, by the way, TASS news agency did report that Israeli religious leader Ali Khamenei did call for Muslim countries to cut diplomatic ties with Israel. This is, you know, not the first time when we hear this type of calls from different countries, and maybe some negotiations are taking place between regional countries in the Middle East, and maybe some other states also. And in coming days, we might see this kind of diplomatic démarche from quite a few countries, and you know, Israel may lose diplomatic relationships with quite a few of them. That's a possibility, because I remember, dear friends, that I remind you that not Netanyahu, but President of Turkey, Recep Tayyip Erdogan, also did spoke about possibility that diplomatic ties will be cut with Israel, but he did say that to achieve some effectiveness, many countries have to do the same, not just one or two, but many countries. And probably because Iranian leader is now stating or calling for diplomatic tie to be cut with Israel, maybe some negotiations are taking place about this topic. We will learn about it in coming days. Also, by the way, RIA Novosti did report that Russian Federation did evacuate more than 500 Russian citizens from Gaza Strip, from 900 that did ask for evacuation. So I guess evacuation, this process will continue, and in next several days, all the Russian citizens who made decision to come back to Russia will receive assistance from Russian Ministry of Emergency Situations. And also, dear friends, RIA Novosti did report, and many other outlets also, that militants in Iraq from different groups yet again made statement that they did targeted US bases. So this is daily stuff. Now this is daily stuff. US bases are under fire almost constantly on daily basis, and US already twice did respond on it with airstrikes, and I guess there will be third and possibly fourth US strike in upcoming days. And this is it, by the way, for a short summary about Middle East. And now let's continue chat in real time. Just several more minutes, and I will end the stream. I'm so sorry that this technical issue did happen in the beginning, man. But what can I do? Anyway, let's continue. Question. Let me check here. Let me check here. And also here. Okay, no questions. There. Let's see chat now. Sorry, dear friends, if I'm a little slow. Levan, when do you think we will see Su-35 fly? Well, Killzone is asking about Su-35. Just a few days ago, I did report about some new developments about Su-35s, which is that it's assembly line for Su-35, not just being engineered, but also building of assembly line began, and well, first prototypes, flying prototypes of Su-35 we will probably see in well, 2025 most likely, but this will be just prototypes, by the way. This is not a serial production plane, of course, but first prototypes probably we will see somewhere around 2025. And because this plane supposed to be like twice cheaper, if not more than F-35, and significantly more capable, especially in air-to-air combat, I guess Su-35 will find its market in this world, and this plane may become a huge success for Sukhoi OKB, Sukhoi Bureau, like Su-30 or Su-35s, by the way. There is a huge demand on Su-30s and Su-35s at this point. Questions? Sorry, dear friends, if I miss any question. If I see in capital letters, it's easy for me to notice it straight away. Like now, Ramplens 01 is asking, Levan, do you know what the Jewish Russian people living in Russia say about the war in Palestine? Do they agree or disagree with the actions taken by Netanyahu? Well, it's hard to tell. I can speak only on, about what I know from, let's say, my relatives that have some Jewish heritage, and they are not happy with actions of Netanyahu and his government. But this is Russia, by the way, and I guess significant number of Russian Jews have a somewhat similar attitude, that they are not happy with Netanyahu's government because, first of all, he didn't prevented this incursion from Hamas, and secondly, actions of IDF, actions of Netanyahu's government are inflaming this anti-Semitism worldwide, isn't it? And many people did see as a danger, because when people see what is going on in Gaza Strip, of course they are angry, and not everyone is in position when they are emotional to understand that Jewish people has nothing to do with this crazy man Netanyahu and his government. They are acting on behalf of some other groups that don't care about Jews, don't care about Muslims, don't care about Christians, don't care about Hindus, don't care about nobody except themselves and their geopolitical interests. And that's why, when people when people are on high emotions and they are not really analyzing situation, they may act in some unpleasant way. And there are reports, by the way, that anti-Semitism unfortunately is on rise in US, in other countries. Unfortunately, we do remember what happened in Dagestan, for example, not so long ago. Yet again, because on high emotions, not every human is able to think straight, because that's what emotions do, man. So I guess I don't have statistics, by the way, or any survey data, but I guess Russian Jews are not happy with Netanyahu's government. First of all, because he allowed this to happen on 7th of October, and secondly, because these actions of IDF, when they are decimating entire neighborhoods in the Gaza Strip, and it's already more than 15,000 civilians killed, and more than 6,000 children among them killed. Of course, this is shocking, by the way. Israeli army, during its military operation, did kill more civilians than civilians died in 1 month, by the way. That number of civilian deaths during 18 months of conflict between Russia and Ukraine. So you can clearly see difference in approach of Russian military and Israeli's military, isn't it? So, but yet again, I did not see any survey, by the way, so I cannot talk in more precise manner. But unfortunately, it's obvious that Netanyahu's actions, man, are generating anger, of course, worldwide, and because these high emotions, level of anti-Semitism is on rise, which is unfortunate, because what our Jews, by the way, here in Russia had to, what they have to do with Netanyahu's actions, man, absolutely nothing, isn't it? Or Jews in France, or in US, or even in Israel, by the way, right now, by the way, as we speak, there are some protest actions in Israel where hundreds and hundreds of, I guess thousands of people are demanding Netanyahu's resignation. You know? Susan is asking, Levan, do you know Matt's book, Clash of the Two Americas, was translated to Russian? Here is a link to... Oh, unfortunately, I did not see link, but, well, I will, after interview with, I did not know about it, Susan, thank you for sharing information. After interview, I will, of course, before interview, I will collect all informations about pages on YouTube, on his personal website, or website of Canadian Patriot Press, all the other accounts, Twitter, and so on, and I will pin that information in the comment section. Hopefully, members of our community will join that live stream, because I'm absolutely sure interview gonna be very interesting. It's gonna be interesting to me. I have so many questions, and hopefully it will be interesting for our community also. Questions. Toronto Bread is writing, I saw video of the Ukrainian woman in the trench. I also saw a pregnant Ukrainian soldier. Weird. Well, that's a tragedy, isn't it? I did saw those videos. Dear friends, there are so many videos that are very dramatic, graphic. Even though I do share some videos from front lines on my Telegram, I cannot share them all because, you know, and these videos I did not share on my Telegram. It's very unfortunate to see that females have been thrown to a zero line. It's pure madness. It's just pure madness what Kyiv regime does, man. And hopefully, I can only hope that Ukrainian officers will realize that they have been used, and Ukrainian militaries will realize that they have been used as a pawns in this conflict between Western ruling class and Russia. And if they will lay down arms and surrender, they will save their lives. They will save so many lives, man. And we will see this process when large-scale Ukrainian units are laid down arms, I believe, in fairly short time, during the Avdiivka cooperation. At least I hope so, because there is no need to this fight to continue. Why Ukrainian soldiers gonna die for Zelensky and his regime and for Western masters of Zelensky? I mean, what is the point in it, If Russia was endangering Ukrainian citizens, Ukrainian society, that's a whole different story, but they know perfectly well that Russian side do not see Ukrainians as enemies. No. Russian side does its best to minimize casualties among civilians. And numbers are not lying, by the way. Unfortunately, even one civilian death is a tragedy, of course, and 10 to 15,000 civilian deaths did occur in Ukraine, according to UN data. As a result of this confrontation, it's a huge number, of course. But if you take in intensity of the conflict, and if you take, for example, what's going on in Gaza Strip, how Israel is conducting military operations, you will clearly understand that Russian side does its best, and many times Russian soldiers risking their lives just to minimize casualties among civilians and just to make sure that all civilians are evacuated or are flee to safe place. Unfortunately, mistakes happen. Some missile may broke down in the air and hit civilian area. Artillery shell may hit not, civilian area. That's a war, by the way. That's military, high intensity military conflict, and mistakes, tragic mistakes like that do happen. But Russian side definitely does its best to minimize casualties among civilians, and at this point, I believe no one has questions about that. It's just too obvious. So and I'm saying this because, Ukrainian forces also see this, isn't it? So what they are fighting for then? For what? Who they are defending? Ukrainian society don't need defense from Russia because Russia is not the enemy. So Ukrainian forces are defending Zelensky and his regime and Western masters of Zelensky's regime, Zelensky, isn't it? That's it, really. And more Ukrainian soldiers will realize this better. So questions. I'm quite sure I did miss quite a few questions. Sorry, dear friends. I will check here. I will check here now, and I guess I will end this live stream. So dear friends, we had a good conversation. I apologize for technical issues in the beginning of live stream. Well, what can I do about it, but we did manage quite quickly to resolve the issue, and hopefully you did find the news that I reported during the live stream important and interesting, and we have a great chat, great conversation. George is asking, what is your favorite Russian novel? That's a question, isn't it? Favorite? How are you gonna choose though? There is so many great authors and you know, and their works. I was impressed by, you know, when I read last time Dr. Zhivago. It's a fascinating story. It's a fascinating story that took place about 100 years ago. And there are many novels, by the way, you know. So, but if you ask me my favorite writer, for example, in that case I will say Konstantin Gamsakhurdia, Georgian writer. I was born in Georgia, by the way, and I'm raised in Georgian culture, and Konstantin Gamsakhurdia, father of first Georgian president, Zviad Gamsakhurdia. Konstantin Gamsakhurdia was a great writer, by the way. His style of writing is wow, it's so interesting. So style of writing, it's difficult to read, by the way, if you are, you know, if you don't like these sentences that force you to think about every next word. He was writing, you know, some heavy stuff, but that's why I do like that kind of style. When you know, when you have to constantly be engaged, otherwise you will just lose the plot of the author. Moonlight Shadow is asking, are Cossacks Ukrainians or Russians? They are Ukrainians, they are Russians, both. If you ask me, Ukrainians are also part of Russian world. You know, they have dialect, they speak. I can understand Ukrainian, by the way. For example, you to realize differences between Russian and Ukrainian language, I can listen to Ukrainian speech, and most definitely I will understand almost everything. It's you know, one Russian, Ukrainian, that they are part of Slavic, Eastern Slavic family of languages, and modern Ukrainian is kind of mix of Russian and Polish. In my understanding, that's how it sounds to me. So of course Cossacks are Russians and Ukrainians, and I know, by the way, there are some theories that Cossacks themselves, some of them, are think that they are separate ethnic group, which I don't know, man. I'm not expert in this field. Which people? I'm you know, I'm not historian. But if you know, so this is it, by the way. So Control Demolition is asking, I used to support Stop Ham in Russia. Do you know about them? Very brave people. I did see several of those videos on YouTube from them. Well, I have nothing against them, for sure. Although I don't like when someone is touching property of other people. Even if those other people are wrong. So, you know, but they were, in some sense, they were quite effective, I guess, because videos from Stop Ham had huge number of views, and maybe some drivers think twice after watching the videos how they are driving and how they are behaving while on the, you know, on the wheel. So, dear friends, this stream is too long already, isn't it? Let me check how long is this. Wow, it's definitely too long. So before we hit 2 hours, man, I have to end this update. Thank you very much once again, dear friends. Thank you very much. Sorry for that technical issue in the beginning. Well, it's upsetting. It's upsetting, but you know, next time I will try to make sure that everything will work properly. Once again, thank you very much. Thank you for your questions, for your discussion in the chat. You are great. Have a nice day, and well, see you tomorrow. Take care.